In the long shadow of history, a great promise was made to the world. A promise of peace, of choosing dialogue over destruction, of humanity trying to rise above its darkest impulses. This is the story of that promise, and how it now finds itself in serious peril. Our story begins in a world just completely scarred by conflict, a world that had seen horrors we can barely even imagine today. And it was from the ashes of 2 world wars that an idea was forged, an institution that would stand as humanity's best and maybe its last hope against the ravages of war. And that, of course, was the United Nations. Its purpose was so noble, its vision so clear. It was meant to be a beacon of hope, guiding nations away from the shores of conflict. But, well, when you look at the landscape of our world today, that once bright beacon seems to be dimming. This timeline tells such a powerful story. In 1945, the UN was founded with one singular, solemn purpose: maintain peace and prevent a third world war. But as you look to today, you see a starkly different reality. A world filled with conflict, where the UN's very relevance is being seriously questioned. That brilliant light of hope feels like it's been reduced to just a fragile, flickering flame, threatened by the very winds it was meant to calm. And the most tragic part? The reason for this weakness was built right into its very foundations. Okay, so now we turn to the heart of the UN's power, and ironically, its greatest weakness. Deep within the Security Council lies what you could call a fatal flaw, a mechanism that was meant to ensure stability, but often just guarantees paralysis: the veto. It's such a simple word for such an immense power. Think about it. The ability of just one of 5 nations to bring the entire global security apparatus to a grinding halt. It's a power that allows a single national interest to silence the collective will of the world. This table reveals a really telling pattern. The veto is often wielded not as a tool for peace, but as a political shield to protect allies. This creates a recurring diplomatic deadlock, sacrificing decisive global action for the sake of national interests. So the crucial point is this: what about the times when a resolution does, against all odds, actually manage to pass? This brings us to the hollow reality of the UN's enforcement power, or rather, its lack of it. Just look at this number. It is a stark and frankly damning indictment. In some of the world's most enduring conflicts, fewer than 15% of key resolutions are ever followed. See, without an army of its own, the UN can only ask for compliance, and its requests are, all too often, ignored. And so it has become, in the eyes of many, a paper tiger. It can roar with moral authority, pass resolutions, and make demands, but its words often lack the force to stop determined aggression. Its roar is loud, but it has no teeth. This whole cycle of paralysis and powerlessness has led to a deep and corrosive consequence. It's given rise to a profound crisis of trust in the very institution designed to be the world's neutral arbiter. Accusations of bias and double standards haunt its halls. A perception of ineffectiveness hangs over its every action. And when nations at war see the UN not as a mediator, but as an agent of their adversary, its ability to broker peace is completely shattered. The end result is what looks like a broken moral compass. The UN's directives get ensnared in this web of power plays and geopolitical ambitions, and we're left with a world where that old, brutal saying, "might makes right," seems to be making a comeback. But in this somber tale, there is still a glimmer of the original promise. Because while the political games of the Security Council falter, on the ground, in the world's most dangerous places, the true spirit of the UN lives on. It lives in the work of its humanitarian agencies. UNICEF, the World Food Program, UNRW. These are the helping hands amidst the destruction. They are the last bastion of UN influence, delivering food, medicine, and shelter, often at great risk to themselves. They are the promise, made real. And this brings our story to its climax, a real moment of truth for the United Nations. It stands now at a crossroads, facing a monumental choice that will define the future of global cooperation. The 2 paths forward could not be more different. One is the path of difficult, fundamental reform, a path that could lead to restored credibility and a renewed sense of purpose. The other is a slow, steady slide into irrelevance, a future of paralysis and crises without response. And so, we're left with this question, and it's a question for all of us. Can an institution forged in the world of the 20th century
find the will to remake itself for the challenges of the 21st. The promise of peace hangs in the balance, waiting for an answer.
At Geotectonics, our mission is to uncover these profound tectonic shifts, offering clarity in a world of complexity. If this analysis deepened your understanding, please like this video to support our work, share it with others who seek real insight, and subscribe to Geotectonics to ensure you never miss our next deep dive. We'll continue to explore the crucial geopolitical movements that define our time. Thank you for joining us.